In both the first reading and the gospel today, we hear God speaking in the midst of a storm, right? In the book of Job, he's questioning Job about whether he knows the origins of, where the wind comes from and where what the mysteries of the world are, right? And finally, though, he says, right, he's the one who puts limits on the sea. And he says to the waves, "No farther, and here shall your proud waves be stilled." It's a little foretelling, right, a foreshadowing of Jesus, who is God, telling the sea to be still. And so in the gospel today, when we see this incident of our Lord sleeping in the bow when the storm is arising, and this must have been quite a violent storm. These the apostles were fishermen. After all, they fished right there on the Sea of Galilee all the time. They knew what it was all about, and so for them to be afraid of the storm tells you it was a pretty serious storm that sprung up. But our Lord is asleep, and their first action to him is not even to call out for help to him. It says they woke him and said, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" And this is instructive for us, right? In our own lives, when we are going through a storm of life, whatever it may be, something that's causing us fear and suffering and that's shaking us up, do we often question God? Not just calling out for help, but saying, "Do you care?" Right? We often wonder, does God really know my situation? Does God really care about my situation? It's difficult for me, and there he is asleep, right? And this is what the apostles' first instinct was, that Jesus didn't care about their situation. But it says Jesus woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Quiet, be still." He's demonstrating his power as God, right? Just like was foretold there in the book of Job. The wind ceased, there was a great calm, and then he asked them, "Why are you terrified? Do you not yet have faith?" And I think this part of it is instructive for us in this way. If we were let's say you're taking a trip to Albuquerque, would you rather have an absolutely uneventful, smooth sailing trip by yourself, in which nothing out of the ordinary happened, it was an easy trip, or with Jesus Christ asleep in the seat next to you, get a flat tire, nearly get run off the road, all these things, but Jesus is with you? Which do you prefer? Right? Easy sailing, right? Isn't that what we always want? And yet Jesus says, in this, I'm with you through the difficult times, not just to make the storm stop. No, to be with you in the difficult time, in the storm. Right? Jesus said we have to take up our cross and follow him. He didn't say you won't have any crosses. He says he will not abandon us, and he will not give us too much to handle. Right? That's the promise. Not that we won't have any storms, but that he will be there with us. And we have to trust that God is with us in every moment of our life, every moment, that we ought not to be terrified because we have faith in him who is with us. God speaks in the storm to Job. He speaks out of the storm. And Jesus speaks to his apostles out of the storm on Lake Galilee, right? He calms the storm to show them who he is, but he rebuked them for not having faith. And so I think this is very instructive for all of us, right? God is with us. We ought not to question whether he cares about us or not. What we ought to ask is, Lord, yes, I need your help. Strengthen me. Help me see the way out of this. But we can't just always demand that God make the storm go away. That is not what he promised us. Today on Father's Day, I want to interject something not so directly in the scriptures, but something that we experience every Sunday. you know, that every Sunday, in a sense, is Father's Day, right? God the Father's Day. And we're supposed to recognize him, right? And we do that by imitating him, right? He asks us to take time for ourselves and our families. And so on Father's Day, he shares his glory with earthly fathers, right? He gives you a share of the recognition that is due to him, right? The Father, all fatherhood comes from God. But I want to relate to you that God has shared his glory with you, not in giving you a day, a Sunday, but in sharing with you the gift of sharing creation with you. Right? He allowed you to cooperate with him in giving human life. Right? That's how much he trusts you, right? To pass on life to another person and then entrust you with their care, with their upbringing. Just as we have to rely on and depend upon our Father in heaven for all things, right? Children look to their fathers for everything, right? Guidance, for protection, for being provided for, all those things. And so God is sharing with you this role of fatherhood, and you are honored by that. So please take it as something that is a tremendous honor and a gift from God to you, that he has shared the glory of giving life, being a life giver, and that this day, right, you get to even share a day of recognition, right, as we should give God recognition every Sunday, is God the Father's Day.